what universal things should we be looking for if we are to be a judge at an event?
Well, obviously, like there's the main things you're looking at is musicality, originality, execution, fundamentals, how you mix it all up, you know, how you put it all together. There's a lot of different aspects to judging. Man, b-boying is deep because there's so many different styles, so many different things. I mean, we're talking about threads, sweeps, power moves, freezes, flips, transitions, on and on and on, don't stop. So for a judge, it's hard. It's really hard to judge, and you can't like make it so technical to where like some of the point system type of things, you know, like not dissing it, just my opinion. It's too technical for a judge. Like you can't like give a certain number for each specific thing. You just gotta watch it for what it is and keep it simple. You know, when you're a good judge, you know who won the round, and just go round for round and look at all these aspects. There's a lot to look at, but you need some type of structure. You know?
If you see an original dancer who's doing so many original things, but it might not be exactly b-boy, but you get somebody over here, he may be running same moves as other people do, but he's basically ticking all the boxes. What wins? Since there's such a big emphasis on being original.
Yeah, I mean the emphasis on being original, that's one of the things that we all look at a lot, as b-boys, and especially people that when we're judging competitions. When you look at somebody that's doing original ideas, the question comes down to, is he executing them? Is he staying to the rhythms of the music? Is he even dancing with what he's doing? If it's too far outside of our dance, then it's gone. Like it's not really breaking no more, And then when you got somebody that's doing just, I guess you could say, universal movements, and he's emphasizing more with the music, he's more in rhythm, then obviously for me, even though this guy's doing more original stuff, but he's not on beat, and it doesn't flow, then that doesn't necessarily mean that it's dope. Because you see, the thing is, like, in breaking, there's like a style that we have as b-boys, and that's part of our tradition, that's part of our dance. You have to dance to the beat, you have to look fresh doing it. If you want to do abstract or have an original style with original moves, then just do it within breaking, what breaking is, you have to keep it within that element. I've been talking about it recently to some people, and it's just, I feel that when you look at other dances, they have their foundation and they have their fundamentals, and they expand out of that, right? They get influenced by other dances. But when you look at it, they're still sticking to their dance, But in breaking, the moment that, somebody goes really far out of breaking, that it's almost not even breaking anymore, if we say that that's not breaking, then they look at us like we're being closed-minded. But it's not even that. It's more that we need to understand that breaking has been going on for almost 40 years, So there's a certain image, a certain style, a certain history that it has, and story that it comes from, that if we don't continue to carry on those traditions, they're just going to fade away eventually. And once you lose that, you lose the essence of the dance. So there's nothing wrong with getting inspired from other things and bringing them into breaking, but make sure that they look like breaking. Like you don't want it to look like something else. You don't see ballerinas doing head spins because they wouldn't accept that. You know what I'm saying? You don't see house dancers doing like crazy breaking moves because that's not their style. So why is it that breaking can look like everything else, but at the moment that you critique that, it's like, oh, you're closing your mind. That's not what breaking is. Of course not, but at the same time, you gotta understand that breaking is a certain dance, and you want to make sure that it's represented still the right way. So
sure. Yeah. So if you did have to have, the decision to make against somebody who's like very funky, as you said, and a guy who just does moves. How are you able to judge the difference between the two of them?
Well, you know, just like theoretically speaking, if we had one guy, let's just say one round was the guy was funky, like he was funky, he was killing it, he was different levels of being funky, his forward was funky, he maybe didn't do a lot of moves, but he was funky the whole time, he was on beat, he was killing it, and he brought his own power to that funkiness, then for me that's gonna be big, because for me power doesn't just have to be power moves, power can be explosive on how you hit beats, how funky you are. I mean, just look at Ivan. Ivan could be powerful just in his footwork, just how fast his footwork was. You look at Enemy Squad from like Battle of the Year 1995. Those guys were powerful in how they did their footwork, So power doesn't just have to be moves. Power can be the movement. It's the movement of how you bring it out. So I think there's people that have a powerful, funky style, And in some guys they're just powerful and just with power, So, but I would say that whoever seems to be the cleanest out of the guy with just being funky and the guy being moves, whoever's more funky and more powerful with what they're doing is gonna win it. So there's been times when I've seen the guy who's funky not be as powerful, and there's been times when I've seen the guy who has power. He has power, but it's not a powerful style. It's not a powerful movement. So, if that makes any sense. It's just whoever's more dynamic. It doesn't just have to be the air chair or the tap mail. It's the guy who the movement. How powerful it is. The energy behind it, the feeling behind it. Really, the feeling is a big part of it.
How do you judge a footwork battle when there's so many different influences and styles? Like you said, there's the steps and then there's the leg work. So what do you class as footwork in that case?
The leg works, that definitely works for me, If you throw that in a footwork battle, it works for me. As long as you're not really laying down or sitting down for more than a split second. If you touch your back and go right back to your feet, you could get away with that. But if you're just laying on your back doing back rocks or just sitting on your hip and doing threads, you're not gonna score any points in my book. I want to see steps. I want to see creativity. I want to see you bring something to the table. It's so easy to flip a move. Your basic 6-step is there's so many different little things that you can add to it to make it yours, your own style, your own approach. You just use that basic foundation is what it is. It's a foundation. Everybody knows. I don't have to explain. The foundation of a building. It's the frame. Then you got to build around that. And that's you. But a lot of things. You got to be clean. You got to have speed. You got to be ambidextrous. It's good to go both directions. Have good balance. Not just one way, then it starts looking repetitive. You want to catch people's attention with your dynamics, switch up the speed, stuff like that. But, everybody should know their foundation. I shouldn't have to explain, you got to do CCs and Zulu spins, etc. No, that knowledge is already out there. You know what to do. Now put it together in your own package, If it's just a footwork battle, obviously I'm not going to throw power in there. You can do whatever you want when you're dancing in an all-out battle. But say I'm going to enter a top rock battle, I'm not going to go spin on my head. You feel me? So that's what it is.
So on to another topic then. So without talking about any particular judging system, whether it's the hour system or the Kozen system, what is the importance now of having such a system exist in our competition battles now?
Oh man, this is obviously an ongoing debate of but obviously, man, I looked at so many analogies. So which one should I use? Okay, how important is it? Okay, if ever we're gonna be taken seriously in breaking, period, right? You need to have a system, right? It needs to be something. For example, I always give this one. Now, think of twerking. Twerking, okay? Twerking, right? whoever thinks about twerking and if it's a twerking competition, you never take it seriously. You look at it like, okay, this is pure entertainment. You know, I want to be entertained by twerking. And so you go and you watch twerking and, you know, everyone's shaking their butts and you're like, yeah, right? Now, if someone said, no, but you know what? Twerking is actually a serious dance. It has a history, it has a movement, there's a culture, and there's a way that it's judged. It's not just judged based on 3 people pointing to who they like better. It's actually based on, you know, the foundation of twerking, which is sexiness, which is the music, you know, or it's judged on this criteria. Then you start to say, wow, really? And you take it a little bit more serious. You know what I mean? You take it more serious. That's exactly what it is with breaking, okay? People who are outside of our culture look at breaking and say, okay, that's just like cleaning the floor. They don't understand it. But once you put something that makes it more professional, people start taking it more seriously, right? And that's exactly why. Like, it's so important, right? Like, we need to, if we want to have an avenue of professionalism in breaking, we need to have a system. That's it. It can't be just people sitting down pointing like, like, you know, everyone knows this, you know.
Okay, so then why is there like such a debate about like having them here? Like, why do people not like having a judging system?
Okay, one of the big things is politics. Okay, like the biggest politics in this culture is that the most money paid is by being a judge, right? And a lot of judges, like, you know what I mean? Like, you want to, like, it's a fight. It's a fight to have this judging gig, you know? So, for example, right, if I'm a hungry person in breaking, I've been breaking a while, but I don't have a lot of money, and I find out, whoa, you can get paid $500 to $1,000 just to judge, then I would be like, okay, well, I need to get as much, you know, judging gigs as possible, because that's my only way of making money, of living. So I'm going to tell everybody, hey, everyone, twirling your legs and threading in the Toronto style is the correct way to break. And if you don't break this way, you're not a b-boy. You know, so you have to thread and twirl your leg every round. This is the right way to break, right? Now, if everyone believes me, who's going to judge? Me, right? I'm going to be the judge. So that's why, yeah. So that's why there's an endless debate, because no one wants to have a system to show, you know, they're afraid of that. They work so hard to build their little empire, their little legacy, that they want to be like, I should just be, people just respect me and love me, so I should just sit down in this chair and I should be the king, and I should just vote on who I like because I'm like here. But what happens to those kind of people is one day people stop respecting them because trends change, and then now they're bitter and they're like, why is no one asking me to judge? And they get angry and stuff like that. So we need a system.
What's your thought process for judging a battle, and what's necessary to take into consideration when you're being a judge?
One of the most important things for me when judging a battle is the exact opposite of what's important to many people that are developing systems for judging battles, and that is educated opinion. You need to have an educated opinion. You need to have been around for a long time. You need to have seen a lot of stuff. And you need to understand how the body works so that you know how hard it is to do a lot of this stuff. You know, if someone's doing something you've never tried, you don't know what went into that. You don't know the amount of skill that went into that. You need to understand skill in all its varieties, in all its incarnations, in all its forms. And that has to do with difficulty and intricacy and ability to remain on beat, you know, ability to meander off beat and then come back on beat, you know, things that I would like to, that I always liked experimenting with. And so on and so forth. And, you know, nowadays we give high marks to variety, to being well-rounded, you know. And so everybody comes out and does everything there is to do in one set. And so it just becomes this clusterfuck because you're seeing too much of too much in every single round from every single b-boy, rather than letting people just shine doing the things that they're really good at, you know, and appreciating that. And appreciating that skill for what it is, regardless of them displaying all these other skills that they may be sort of good at. Like, for example, we lost a battle once that was really close. We had a tiebreaker, and the other side won just because one of the guys did a little bit of footwork. It wasn't even good footwork, just the fact that he did it, a little bit of it. Everything else was roughly even. We might have even had the edge, but did a little bit of footwork, just a little bit, and they won. And we thought that was strange, we didn't mind because it was a great battle against good friends, but we just thought that was a strange reason to let the other guy win, just because, of that one detail. So educated opinion is important because now that things are so formalized and so geared towards well-roundedness and point accumulation, that's really why you want to be well-rounded, so you can get more points from more judges. People plan for that. They adapt their style to fit judges' criteria, rather than developing their style the way they want because they want to, which is all that we did back then. We did what we like to do because we like to do it, rather than trying to do a little bit of everything just because it would give us more points, Now, that's not to take away from being well-rounded. If that's what you want to do, you should do that, and that probably means you'll win more contests, and that's cool, But it creates this unfair dichotomy, I think, to where people that specialize and are really good at what they specialize at, they don't get past the first round anymore. They can't. The odds are stacked against them. So it's like all of that time and investment and energy is kind of for naught. If they can't make it past the first round just because somebody did a lot of mediocre stuff, but they did a lot of it, so they got more points, versus somebody who didn't do that much variety, but what he did was tremendous, and I think that's unfair. That's my educated opinion from being in the game for 22 years. But you got to understand all of it as a judge, because people are going to come in and do things you don't do, and you need to at least have that understanding that, there is sufficient amount of skill in everything that everybody's doing, and you need to know when what this person did defeats what this person did, at least in your mind, at least from your perspective. And you need to be able to justify that. You need to know how and why it defeated what the other person did, right? I think routines are way overemphasized nowadays. Routines have always been around. They always will be around, but they used to be the icing on the cake. They used to be here and there and pretty cool, a novelty. So when it did happen, you were like, whoa, that was cool. That was a nice change of pace from all these solos. Now it's just like every single round, in a lot of cases, has a routine. There are no solos. People just have sort of given up on individual strength, And it's as if we have become a caricature of ourselves. And what I mean by that is that movies have come along and tried to caricaturize, that's not even a word, but have tried to make a caricature of b-boying for the big screen by throwing all this choreography into it that didn't really exist before the movies came and made it look like it existed, made it look like that's the way battles are conducted or had always been conducted. So after all these movies started coming out, all these b-boys started doing routines that looked a lot like what we were seeing in the movies, They didn't do routines like that before, the movies. So we have become a caricature of this caricature that is portrayed in movies of us, and I think it's embarrassing. We have great routines, a lot of really, really great routines, and it's really pushed that medium quite a bit, but it's overkill. Like, I think the pendulum will swing back the other way eventually, as it always does. But right now, 2014, coming up on the end of 2014, it's painful to look at. To me personally, I'm sure lots of people love them, but to me personally, I can't stand it. I can't stand seeing too many routines. I like them being highlights rather than standard every single round.